I'm just basically a spoiled brat. When somebody asks me for something, I say, done. And then I look up and say, I hope you heard. Because you don't want to see me get mad. And it works. What could I do once I started to heal people? They would come back to me and say, what can I do for you? How can I say thanks? So I would tell them, well, go and do something for somebody else. And mostly they wouldn't do it. They would say yes and maybe drop a few coins in the bowl of a beggar and walk around and think they've done their job. So I started a small little foundation to get people to do things. And I would say volunteer your time, volunteer your, your effort, whatever you can do, or donate something and let's get this thing going. And now it covers almost every major city of India and we're all around the place. But no great shakes. People make a big deal about things like this, but really, I don't think so. I don't think we should take these things too seriously. We take ourselves too seriously. That's our problem. We walk around thinking, I'm a big doctor, I'm a big lawyer, I'm a big businessman, I'm a housewife, everybody needs me, my children need me, I have responsibilities. Rubbish. When it says time to go, time to go. No one's going to curl up and die just because you've gone. They may shed a few tears for a couple of days and that's about it. Reality. Now, do you have any questions?
I need somebody to help me with the mics. Would somebody, thank you very much, Dan. Would somebody else help? Yes.
Well, first, hello, and thank you for being here. I studied healing a long time ago and worked in clinics and healing people, but I never got what I'm hearing from you is like I always felt I was limited by my story, that it always took time. Like that there's some element that I was not in control of. And so how do you become super arrogant to the point where you can help people right now? How do I do that?
Okay, you see, the thing is this. When I say super arrogant, most people think of arrogance in a very, very negative way. But when you're arrogant, or when I say super arrogant, it comes from having that absolute implicit faith that nothing, and absolute nothing, can go wrong. I can stand in front of a cancer patient who's been given days to live and say, how long do you want to live? 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, tell me, I'll get it for you. It's like that. It's that kind of arrogance. Because I know that if I say it, it's got to be. I'll give you an example. I'm a little bit of a dramatist. And I'll give you an example of what happened once. I wanted to dig a well in my house. We were sharing the well with a neighbor, and they were upset that because we wanted to grow a garden, and they said there's less water in the well, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I had a little goad in the side for my wife. Get something done. So I said, all right, I call a contractor to make the well. And he says, listen, it's your money, but I'm telling you, I have divined this whole area where you live, and there is no water. So I said, okay. So I took a stick, drew a circle, and of course, Patrick and his, sense of theater, I struck the stick and said, as I strike this stick, let water gush forth. Wow, I felt like Moses or something like that. And I scuttled off to my clinic, and this contractor looked at my wife with a face and said, oh, very wonderful words, but there's no water here. So she said, look, he said, dig, dig. So he went down meter by meter, meter by meter. And I told him, you'll come across 3 big rocks. So he started laughing. He says, there are no rocks in this area. I have put dozens of wells in the area. There's only sand. I went away anyway. So he came across 3 big rocks after 7 meters. So he says, what do I do? I said, take your crowbar and crack the rocks. He cracked the rocks and they had to pull him out before he drowned. He thought he had hit the government pipeline. So when he asked me, how did you know there would be 3 rocks? I said, well, if I said 2.5, it would be 2.5. It's because I said so. That's faith. So that's how I do it.
Where's the mic?
Yeah.
Please.
Could you share where the name Patrick comes from?
I think somebody in my family was naughty way back when. There was a dot of Irish blood there.
Where's the mic? It's coming to you.
Are you a practicing doctor? And if so, why did you go to medical school?
I don't practice, I'm perfect. Well, actually, to answer your question, I do healing, but I don't practice medicine as in allopathy. I don't practice. I just use it to gain the confidence of the patient. A patient comes to me and gives me his MRI and says, this is my problem. If I don't know anything about that, he's going to lose confidence in me. So since the patients are conditioned to talk to a doctor, so that helps them in developing the confidence in me that, okay, he knows what's wrong with me, maybe he can fix it. Anyone else?
Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. Patrick.
Yes?
So are you saying that if all of us have this super ego and walk in that kind of faith, that we can all be healers?
I won't say you can all be healers. I will say that you already are a healer. Only you don't know it. You see, I'll give an example. When you hear something you don't like, what do? You cross your hands like this. You cover your solar plexus. Instinctively you know that that is the center for base emotions. When you forget something, what do? You strike your forehead. By instinct you know that here is the center for memory and the brain power. When you hurt yourself, you use your hand and rub it. Medical science cannot explain why rubbing it would actually make it feel better. You're transferring good energy from your hand to that point. So you are healers by instinct. Only you have forgotten it. You have been conditioned away from it. You think today if you're sick you have to go to a doctor, but you can actually heal yourself. So you don't become a healer, you already are one. You just realize it, that's all.
Thanks a bunch.
Where's the mic? Raise your hand and we'll get the mic to you before you ask the question so you can keep going.
Yes.
Okay, please.
So how do you follow up on that? How do we become more effective healers?
Well, actually, you just begin to develop it a little by little on the way and start with small little things and you'll find it works. See, the first thing is you have to eliminate from your vocabulary and from your heart that prison of doubt. You know what we do? We say, I prayed for this, I hope I get it. Isn't that what we say? The word hope is to doubt. So I prayed for it, I have to get it. And then we tell people, all of you pray for me. Why? Is God deaf that he needs such a loud voice to hear? And then when we pray twice and thrice a day for the same thing. Why? You think he's got a short memory now? Send God to Patrick for some healing for his memory. You see, that's what it is. We doubt. We live in doubt. But if you say, I prayed for it, I have to get it, you'll get it. But I go one step further. Don't pray for anything. Do you go to your mother in the morning and pray, Mom, please give me breakfast today? You go there and say, hey, where's breakfast? You have total faith that your mother's going to give you breakfast. Why can you not have faith that God's going to give you what you need? Why do you have to ask? That is faith.
I have a question, Patrick.
Yes.
This ability, I guess, you have to make this happen, this confidence, is an extraordinary faith. Was it given to you by God in this condition, or did you develop it?
Well, neither. You see, what comes between you and faith is your intelligence, your sense of logic, your sense of reasoning. In reality, the world, the universe does not follow logic. I'm pretty dumb. My teachers would tell you that too. That's why I have faith, because I have nothing else. But this is what it is. You look at the ocean, you see two waves coming one behind the other. One is larger than the other. Why? There's no logic to it. There is no logic in the universe. Do not follow logic. We are trying to fit a round object into a square box. The universe is completely fluid, follows no logic. It's beyond our human brain. So why try to understand it? Just go with the flow. And nobody gave me faith. It's just all I had. You know what we are like with our intelligence? We are like a little child sitting in front of a TV and trying to figure out how those figures have got inside the box. At the end of it, you've not enjoyed the movie, nor have you understood it. Sit back, enjoy the movie. Don't try to understand God. Experience Him. Yes. And
Where's the mic?
Here.
Okay, the back.
I'm over here. I have 2 questions. One is, are you a healer, or are you empowering others to heal themselves, giving them the confidence in that point that then they become self-healers? That's my first question.
neither.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we... See, doctors treat, God heals. I'm not God. All I do is demand of God that He heals you. And it works.
So that may have answered my second question, because that's a little confusing, but I feel like in some of the energy healing and sort of, for lack of a better word, I'll use New Age, about that you can heal yourself, that we're going back to ancient times where we thought if we couldn't heal ourselves, that it was our fault that we were sick, or if something bad happened to us. How do you address that? Is it that we have a lack of faith? Because I don't think our bodies are designed to live forever, and at some point something will happen and we will die. We won't be healed anymore. We're not going to be immortal in this world.
Okay, you see, the first thing is, why do you need to heal yourself? We are so concerned with our little selves. The key is to focus outwards. I'll give you an example. Say you have a terrible migraine and you say, Patrick, I'm just going home to lie down. I'm really, really, really feeling sick. I'm just going to curl up in bed and die. And then you go home and open your door and you find your child on the floor bleeding. What do? Curl up in bed? No. You pick up the child, run to the hospital. What happened to the migraine? So the moment you focus outwards, the self becomes unimportant. So that's what it is. You focus outwards and you won't think about self-healing. You won't even think about your ailments. And yes, sickness is a vehicle to take you from this world to the next. If nobody fell sick and nobody died, there won't be elbow room on the planet. So it's just one way to go. And yes, we all have to go one day. So what's the big deal? Think about your birthdays. Every birthday you celebrate is 1 year closer to your death. You're celebrating that. Yes, anybody else? Yes.
Hey, Patrick, 2 things. One, back to the point of kids coming in and just demanding their breakfast. I have 2 young children, and if you would not say anything to them, if you see them later on today, I'm pretty good with them praying to me for breakfast. The longer they think I have any control over their lives, the better. Second, what do you tell a cancer patient who says, I want another 10 years, another 12 years, and they don't get it, or they know that tomorrow it's done? What do you tell them?
Well, you see, the thing is this. How much time is time? I always say, and I hope there are no Swiss people around here, I always say that the concept of time was developed by the Swiss to sell their watches. You see, if I reach back and pluck a fruit from the tree and say, buy this for $1, and you say, fine. And I reach back and pluck a fruit from the same tree and say, buy this for $1,000, what would you say? Ridiculous? Now that's exactly what time is all about. One person lives for 5 years, one person lives for 1 day, one person lives for 90 years. Where's the question of time? It doesn't exist. It's ridiculous. 2 leaves pop out on a branch at the same time. One drops off today, one drops off after 10 days. Where's the question of time? We have created this concept of time. I need 5 years, 10 years. The bottom line is, you should be ready to go whenever you have to go.